Welcome to the first ever video broadcast from the Metro Detroit Poker Series. We here have the final table of the 2021 Return to Poker event, hosted to return from the coronavirus pause of the last 15 months. We're going to get right to the action here as we begin our first hand of the final table from this Return to Poker event. Jody Page looks down at pocket queens and raises to 4,000 chips. This event is being hosted as a precursor to resuming our regularly scheduled season, which will be coming up next month. Jody wins the pot as everyone else folds to his raise, and we're underway with the final table. This event was a invitation-only 7-handed tournament, 3 tables for a total of 21 players. We've got the final table here consisting of Sasha Ristic, Jody Page, Kevin Higgins, Joe DeFore, Jim Angus, Bob William, and Ryan Wheathead. Ryan looks down at ace-deuce offsuit here and folds that. Sasha looking at ace-jack offsuit. He's going to raise to 3,600. You can see we're at blind levels 600 and 1,200. Jody looks down at ace-10 and calls Sasha. He's way behind here with Sasha's ace-jack. Kevin folds jack-10 on the button. Joe looks down at 3-7 from the small blind, and Jim looks at 9-10 offsuit from the big blind and folds that. So here we go to see a flop. You can see Sasha is a 77% favorite, and the flop comes 4 queens, 6 all diamonds, and Jody did not catch any help on that flop. They both check. To the turn we go. Another queen helps no one. Sasha bets 4,000 and Jody quickly folds. Sasha takes down this pot. Still at 600, 1,200 blinds here. Sasha's on the button. Joe 8-9 offsuit. Says no thank you, folds that. Jim didn't show his cards to the cameras, he folds that. Bob looks down at pocket 10s, 2 red 10s for Bob. He's going to raise here, but what's he going to do? He goes all in. Ryan looks at 5 deuce offsuit, Yoge's favorite hand, but he's not here. Sasha ace-jack offsuit. Counting out chips, deciding what to do with that. Is he going to call here? Re-raise. Looking to Bob, do you want to call? And Sasha goes all in. Looks down at queen 9. Easy decision to fold that. Kevin folds king queen offsuit. Joe congratulating him for that. Bob a slight favorite here as we go into a coin flip. And the flop ace right in the window. Puts Sasha out to a big lead, and Bob gets no help whatsoever. Turns out Bob has Sasha slightly covered, so he's not out completely, but he's going to be down to less than 1 big blind with 1,000 chips left. 1 thin yellow chip. Here we go to the next hand. We're still at the 600, 1,200 blind level. And Bob looks down at ace-3 of clubs and pushes his thin yellow chip into the middle. Here I've got all these chips to play. Bob puts them in the middle of the table. Ryan looks down at 10-8 of clubs. A couple of clubs hurts Bob's chance for a double up just a little bit. Sasha folds his ace-7 offsuit. Kevin now debating with ace-king. He raises from the button. With big slick. Joe looks down at 9-4 from the small blind, easily folds that. Jim looks at queen-5 offsuit from the big blind, also folds. And we're going to be down to a heads-up all-in situation. Kevin's going to get a refund out of the pot here since Bob was short of the big blind. He's going to get a couple hundred winning chips out. And here we go to a flop. Kevin's a pretty good favorite here. Bob no help on the flop or the turn, and a king on the river just insult Bob. Puts the fork in him. He's all done for the day. Going out in 7th place, Bob Williamson. And the price of poker has gone up now. We're at 800 and 1600 blinds. Jody on the button. Jim Angus to act first under the gun. Missed the camera with his cards and he folds them. Ryan looks down at ace-deuce offsuit, folds. Sasha, jack-8 offsuit from the cutoff, also folds. Jody also missed the camera. Looks like he's going to raise here. We don't know what he had. Kevin shows that 5. He's pretty proud of it. And an ace behind it from the small blind. Pretty loose call here. Joe also calls. We don't know what he's got either. So we're at 3-way action, but we only know one of the sets of cards. And here we are with a flop. 2 10s and a 9. Rainbow flop. Check, check to Jody. Who finally checks. I see a turn now. It's like the 4 of diamonds. Kevin and Joe both check. Jody says no more checking now. Here we're going to bet. Can't imagine Kevin's going to call here. He's got nothing and no draws. Is that a tell, Joe? You're scratching your arm there. Time to get rid of those cards. Kevin finally lays it down. And so does Joe. And Jody takes down that pot with his turn bet. As our season resumes and we have more of these videos, I plan to have some guest commentary by other players, so you won't just be hearing my voice all the time. But right now, that's all you got. So here we are. Jody's looking down at ace-10. Stacking up chips. Puts out a raise to 3,500. Kevin finally looks down at 6-8 offsuit. Folds that. Joe folds his 4-10 of clubs. Jim Angus folds deuce-3. Ryan looks down at ace-8 offsuit. From the small blind, what's he going to do here? It's like he goes all in. Sasha quickly folds 8-5. And now Jody has to decide what he wants to do. Jody's built up a pretty good stack here. He's got some play chips to work with. He could make this call or he could fold. Seems to be agonizing over it just a bit. Finally makes a decision to call. He's going to find out he's in a really good shape here. Pretty much dominating Ryan's hand. And 2 sevens and a king rainbow flop doesn't help Ryan any. 4 no help either, and the river does him in. Ryan goes out in 6th place. We are now down to 5 and on the money bubble. The top 4 get paid tonight. This was a $100 buy-in tournament, $2,100 prize pool. 100% of the buy-in returned in prize money. King 10 of clubs for Jody. Going to open the betting with a raise. Kevin looks down at 8 of hearts and 9 of hearts. Suited connectors. What's he going to do here? This is a playable hand, but that's a pretty good size raise from Jody, and Jody has everybody at the table well covered. In early position with 3 players to act behind Kevin, it's got to be tough to play this here. And he does go all in. Joe folds his ace-6 offsuit. A little surprised by Kevin's move here, but he's getting short on chips. It's a good chance to double up. Jim looking down at Jack Queen of hearts. It's a better hand than Kevin's got, and it's the same suit, so that makes Kevin's hand even harder to make. Ace Jack offsuit for Sasha. This has got to be a decision also, but no, he quickly folds. And we go to showdown now. Jody a 62% favorite. And the flop comes with a 10 to pair Jody and gives him a significant advantage here. Turn and river are no help to Kevin, and he goes out in 5th place as our bubble boy. Blind levels are now at 1,000, 2,000, and now you see our payouts on the screen. $290 for 4th place and $900 for 1st. Jim is under the gun now and looks down at Ace Queen of hearts, and he instantly goes all in. 5-3 of clubs for Sasha folds. Ace Jack of diamonds from Jody makes the call. Joe folds, and we're at showdown again. Jim a 65% favorite to win this pot. No real help to anybody on the flop or the turn or the river, and Ace Queen over Ace Jack, and Jim doubles up. A much needed double up for Jim. Puts a little dent in Jody's stack, but Jody's still got quite a few chips and would arguably be the chip leader still at the table. Still at 1,000, 2,000 blinds. Still waiting for our 4th place finisher. Jim looks down at 2 cards that he didn't show us. Sasha also 5-6 offsuit folds. Jody Jack 7 offsuit in the small blind. Joe goes all in with King 10 offsuit. Jody makes the call. Joe a significant favorite here. Jack on the turn. Oh, and a king on the river. Jody pulls defeat from the jaws of victory, from the jaws of defeat. And Joe doubles up through Jody now. And another dent to Jody's wall of chips. Blinds now at 1,200, 2,400 as we've just moved up another level. Jim looks down at Ace 7 offsuit. thinks about it, takes a look at the monitor, doing some math, decides to make the call. Uh-oh, pocket aces for Sasha. You know this is an instant all-in, and there he goes. Queen 8 offsuit for Jody into the muck. Joe into the muck. Jim thinking. What should I do here? You should fold, but you're probably going to call. And he does make the call. And he's about to see that he's in a world of hurt. Flips over his ace-7. Sasha shows his pocket rockets. And he is a 6% dog on this one. Jim picks up a backdoor flush draw. Oh, there's another club. One more club for the win. No, it's a spade, and Jim does not make it. Sasha doubles up now through Jim, putting a serious dent back into those chips that Jim had just acquired from Jody a couple of hands ago. Easy come, easy go. Still at 12 and 2,400 blinds. Joe on the button. Jody first to act. Looks down at Jack 5 of clubs. Folds that. Joe folds his unknown hand. Jim with the little bit of chips he's got left. Calls a small blind out there. Takes a look at ace-6 offsuit and puts the rest of his chips in the middle. All in. Sasha's in the big blind. Looks down at Jack, spades, 9 of diamonds. Not much more for him to call here. You gotta think he'll take a shot at it. Counting it out. He says, I just got all these chips. Don't really want to give them back. A mediocre hand. But finally decides to go ahead and do it. Here we go. All in again. Heads up between Sasha and Jim. Jim's only 59% to win this hand. Sasha's in better shape than he thought he would be. Not quite a coin flip. Sasha's got 2 live cards. Middles between ace and 6 of Jim. And here comes the flop. And with a jack on the flop, Sasha's in a big lead. No ace for Jim, and that does it for Jim. Sasha takes the rest of his chips, and Jim is our 4th place finisher. $290 in prize winnings. Okay, here we go. Now we're down to 3-handed. Jody looks down at 8-9 offsuit. 3-handed range will expand quite a bit here. He raises the 5,000 chips. Joe now in the small blind. Has a bad habit of not showing his cards to the camera. Folds. Sasha in the big blind. Queen 10 of diamonds makes the call. And we'll go to a flop. Sasha, a 2-1 favorite here. Flop comes where the queen makes him a 97% favorite now. Jody in really bad shape here. Sasha leads out with a bet of 6,000. Jody quickly folds. Sasha takes down the pot. Blinds have now gone up to 1,500 and 3,000. All the black chips have been removed from play. The pink 500 is now the lowest denomination chip in play. Sasha looks down at 2 red 5s, pocket 5s, also affectionately known as Terry's favorite hand. Jody folds. Joe with pocket jacks instantly shoves all in. A pretty easy decision at this particular point. For Joe, anyway. Sasha with pocket 5s Not such an easy decision on whether or not to make this call. We'll see what he decides to do here. He's getting the count from Joe on what it would take to make the call. This is a tough decision at this point. I'm sure Joe's got a pretty decent amount of chips out there. Could make a serious dent if Sasha has him covered, which it does look like he does. But he's seriously behind here. He doesn't know it yet. Agonizing over this decision. Still counting out those chips. He might be leaning in the direction of making this call. Joe gives him a little hand. Got to make a decision here pretty soon, Sasha. That clock is still running. One card, that's all you need. And the chips go in. He makes the call. Now he's going to see just how bad a shape he's in. Here we go to a flop. No help for anybody. And 4 to a straight isn't going to cut it. Joe does double up. Sasha takes a big hit, looking for the ocean card and so on and so forth. Still doesn't get there. Joe with a double up. Sasha now down to just a couple big blinds. Joe first to act, looks down at pocket kings now. Nice little run for Joe. A couple of big hands. Raises to 6,000 from the dealer spot. Sasha in the small blind. Still reeling from that hit. Looks down at Yoge's favorite hand. 5 deuce, throws that into the muck. Jody, ace deuce, makes the call. We're going to see another flop here. Joe, a pretty good favorite here. Jody with just the 1 over card. No real help on the flop to Jody. He checks. Joe bets out. And Jody makes the call. Might be a little bit loose, but it pays off as he pulls his ace on the turn. Check, check to the river we go. Joe gets no help here. Jody's going to win with that call from the flop, and Joe can't believe it. Blinds up now to 2,000, 4,000. Jody looks down at ace 4 from the dealer spot. Counting out chips. And decides to go all in. Joe insta-folds. Sasha, looking down at king jack of clubs, makes the call. We're going to go down to a showdown here. Jody and Sasha. Just about a coin flip situation here, so let's see what happens. King jack on the flop for Sasha. What a hit. Makes it a full house on the river, and Sasha doubles up through Jody. And Sasha gets back some much needed chips, restoring some of his stack he lost earlier in that big hand against Joe. Sasha first to act here now in the dealer spot after taking and adding to his stack. In the last hand, looks down at Queen 7, folds that. Jody, big slick, shoves the rest of his chips in the middle, all in. Joe looks down at Ace 9, makes the call. Jody in pretty good shape here to double up. Flop comes out 7, 5, 8. Gut shot straight draw for Joe, and it comes in on the turn. Jody only hope was to tie. No luck. And Joe eliminates Jody, hitting that gut shot straight draw on the turn. Jody out in third place, $360. Joe and Sasha decided to chop first, so this is the chop hand to decide the actual winner. Joe gets out to a pretty good lead, but Sasha hits a pair on the flop. Makes it a full house on the turn. No help for Joe with that 5, pairs him up, but Sasha's paired better than Joe's. And Sasha takes down this tournament. See the results on the screen. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this first ever broadcast from the Metro Detroit Poker Series.